okay, here's the deal. What I need to do in order to actually start my YouTube channel, I have so many ideas, right? I have so many things that I'm interested in that I'd like to talk about and that I'd like to share. I have my own projects that I'd like to publish and like to have people try out. And, I could scale like really well. I have so much content that I can put out there, and it's like so multifaceted. But the difficult thing that I need to figure out is I have to figure out my like the least common denominator of all my ideas. Because from what I've seen on YouTube from other channels, you can't really just be the jack of all trades. You have to have something that's consistent in every video so that your viewers are not always being like thrown every direction every day. They need to have something to look forward to and to expect from you. And that can be like the specific type of content that you're making. Like you could be a gaming channel, you could be a music channel, it could be whatever. Or it could be a little bit more abstract, like maybe something about your personality that always holds true in every video, or something about your setup, or the way that you think about things, like your sense of humor. Which I'll probably lean into that more, but I don't have like a clear set. This will be the same in every video yet. Like that, I think that's going to be difficult for me to think through because I have so many different things that I want to get into. Like I'd really like my main thing is game dev, right? I really want to create games that tell stories and actually mean something to people, that do more than just serve as like brainless entertainment. I want depth to, well, I see video games as an art form, like just as valid as movies or books or music or anything else. And I think the only reason that other people don't see it that way is because it's such a new thing relative to every other medium that we have. And because of that, it hasn't been explored very well. Like how we can tell stories through games and how we can create meaning, versus in like music or in painting or like any other normal medium of artistic talent. It's like a lot of those ideas have already been fleshed out and already tried. And that's really exciting because for me, like being born at the time that I'm in, there's so much untapped potential in what I'm interested in, like for original ideas and things that haven't been tried yet. Even like the simplest little things in game dev that people try, like get people really excited, like, oh, I've never seen that before, like, and it could be like a really simple thing, but just because it's such a new field, there's so many. It's like a Wild West almost. And the even better for me is most of the big companies aren't really exploring that either. It's mostly us like indie developers who are thinking of it in these terms, right? Most AAA studios are trying to create more like either push the graphics or of see how far we can go towards realism, or trying to create like competitive games or addictive games that will like take over the world. And don't get me wrong, there's a place for that. Like I'm literally playing Rocket League right now, but I want to see alongside that a lot more um, a lot more artistic talent going on. And no, it's kind of a similar thing with movies right now. Is like a lot of like the like big budget films. I don't know if you could really call them art anymore. They're more just a giant spectacle, you know? And a lot of people have stopped going to the movies because they're tired of seeing spectacles and they really just want to hear good stories more than anything else. And it's a similar thing in game dev, but it's a slightly different problem because for movies, it's like everything's been done, and a lot of the big companies are kind of out of ideas. And instead of hiring talented writers, they're just like, how much more money can we throw at this? Because that's how business people think, right? But the problem in game dev is just everything's new, relatively speaking. Like the entire field is like 50 years old, you know, really. Um, and so there's so many ideas that have just never been tried, and I think that's really exciting. Anyway, so yeah, like my first thing, that was a very long tangent, but my first uh, form of content would absolutely be game development stuff. I'd love to talk about projects I've done in the past. I'd love to share what I'm working on in the present. I'd love to create new games in the future and get better at looking at the field as an art form and really sharing stories that matter with you guys. That'd be the first thing. But then there's so many other things I'm interested in too. Like, I'd love to talk about music. I have like a billion vinyls on my wall. I'm kind of obsessed with music, and I don't see a lot of commentary out there about like the actual meaning behind the lyrics and the musical compositions of songs, other than like maybe certain artists like in interviews will start to get into that, which I always find like fascinating. I get so excited about that stuff. But outside of that, there's not a ton about like here's the actual thought behind this. It's more just, oh, like that drum part sounded cool, which like okay, I mean fair enough, I guess. Um, so yeah, I'd love to talk about that a lot, like all kinds of different artistic influences that I have and how like the meaning that I see in it and the philosophy behind it, and in a down to earth way, not like like how in high school we all be like analyzing poems, and be like, what does this mean, and like what was the artist think, like, the poet thinking, and whatever, and it's like, okay, man, whatever, like you totally made that up. But part of the reason why that's boring is because teachers give you like really specific things that have no relevance to the actual like body of work, or at least the interesting part. And part of it also is that it's like really, really old and feels like it doesn't really affect today as much as it used to, you know? And there's every once in a while it's interesting, but why don't we do something similar to that for the present? Like think through what. Anyway, yeah, you guys will see. You guys will see. It's gonna be really good. Um, and then I don't know. I'd also just love to do commentary about a lot of different things that are on my mind and how I see the world, and my perspective and my um, just the things that I've picked up along the way, you know. And yeah, and then there's like so many other things, like different computer science things and philosophy and religion and music and probably movies, and I don't know. I do a little bit of writing, I do a little bit of drawing, and I'd love to share some of my other art forms as well with you guys. And yeah, a lot of it comes down to like talking through my own artistic process and then looking at other people's processes and trying to unlock the genius behind it, you know? Like, I'd love to talk to you about just like the means by which artists convey ideas. I think that's so interesting. Anyway, so yeah, I've got a lot of different things that I want to get into, but I haven't quite come up with the thing that connects them all and makes it all one consistent YouTube channel that I can share all of my ideas with. I don't know if it'll be just like I could just make it about the medium where it's just like gameplay and commentary, and then I can talk about anything from there. And like my personality will hopefully be similar throughout. But I'm not really sure if I want to be constrained by always doing gameplay videos, you know? Like, I'd love to do some because they're really easy to make, but I don't think I want to be constrained by that necessarily. And I don't think this is the best medium to talk about, like, songs or movies or other things. This is more just a good way to be extremely authentic and, like, from the top of the brain, you know? Maybe it'll be something about, like, the thing I said about art, and, like, kind of just either it being about analyzing my own art or someone else's and trying to understand how art works, like the mechanisms behind it. Maybe that would be like a consistent thing, but I don't know. Like I don't really want to be limited by that either. Like that is a theme in a lot of the stuff I want to do, but you know, I also want to talk about religious things, and I also want to talk about life experiences, and I want to have conversations like this. I think that would be so awesome, and I'm not exactly sure what how to tie all those things together, you know? So that's the big thing that I'm trying to figure out right now. Once I can come up with threshold, the minimum threshold, what am I saying? The thing that ties everything together. Then from there, I can look into, okay, so now that I have this, how am I going to film my videos? How am I going to edit? How am I going to work on like public speaking and all that stuff? What time am I going to do this? Like what kind of schedule? All the things, right? I'll probably re-listen to this video at some point and see how it feels, see if it looks reasonable for something to put on YouTube. Maybe I'll send it to Caitlin. I don't know. Oh man, I can make a lot of videos at Caitlin, that's for sure. Anyway, yeah, we'll see how it goes, guys. We'll see how it goes. I uh, I also am not like the best at public speaking. Like I always got nervous in class when we had to do presentations or whatever. And I think I've gotten a lot better at that being in college and going through interviews and also like just all of the things that life has thrown at me are like a lot bigger to worry about than just talking to someone for a while. So we'll see how it goes. Anyway, that's all I got for now.